All right, more oil and gas news. The federal government of Nigeria has declined its consent to the proposed acquisition of oil and gas assets belonging to Mobile Oil Producing Nigeria Unlimited, MPNU, by SEPLAT Energy PLC. Now, the government, among others, cited overriding national interest as one of the reasons for rejecting the deal. The chief executive of the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission, Engineer Gbenga Komolafe, confirmed this in two separate letters addressed to the chairman, managing director of Mobile Producing Nigeria Unlimited, Mr. Richard Lang, as well as the immediate past chair of SEPLAT Energy PLC, Dr. Orjakolo. So, joining us to discuss further, Mustapha Wahab, oil and gas analyst with Chapel Hill Denham. Mustapha, thank you so much for joining us. Good to see you again.
It's good to see you, Rotus.
Hey, likewise. What do you make of the rationale of the federal government in withholding this consent?
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'll try to, break it down so that we all understand what's going on. So let's assume that you have an interest in an oil block, right? So what you're supposed to do when you receive an offer from a third party is to, first of all, allow your partner to sort of get the right of purchase of that asset, right? Okay. So that's supposed to be what is supposed to happen as far as JOA is concerned in Nigeria.
That's
right?
joint offer,
joint operating agreement. That's where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right. So now here is the problem, and I think the operating word from what I just said is transfer of transfer of interest, right? And that's where the confusion comes in. ExxonMobil is the parent company of Mobile Producing Nigeria, right? And Mobile Producing Nigeria has interest in all of this, asset that we're talking about, right? Now, SEPLAT did not deal with Mobile Producing Nigeria. They dealt directly with ExxonMobil, which obviously is selling an asset that it thought that is no longer, part of the core of its operation. So ExxonMobil is still, acting within its rights, to sell a business that it thought that, look, is no longer, sensible for it, right? So I don't see why NNPC is doing this, and I don't know where this is coming from. SEPLAT has come out many times to say that, look, this is not an asset, transaction. This is a company acquisition, right? SEPLAT has also said that nothing is going to be changing, right? The name is still going to be retained. The employees there, 100%, we are going to be retaining them. The only thing that is changing is just the transfer of cash flows, from Mobile, now to SEPLAT. So, I see no reason why, NNPC would not be, accenting this sort of deal.
And, okay, great. And just to understand better, part of the, what is understood to be said from the NUPRC is that, well, MPNU is the assignor of the assets. They are they're the ones that should have been dialoguing with the government, but SEPLAT shouldn't have done that. But SEPLAT reached out to the government. But MPNU did reach out to the federal government. So it's a bit confusing.
Yeah, they did. Even ExxonMobil itself, they also wrote to the government that, look, what we're doing is just we're selling a company. We're not selling the assets, right? If it's an asset, sale, I would have, given you that sort of first right of refusal. But you don't have that sort of first right of refusal as far as this transaction is concerned. So, I don't know where this is coming from. As far as I was concerned, when they announced the deal in February, I thought that, no, look, this deal is going to go through because, it's just a company transaction. Yeah. But, going back to where we are today, it's sort of surprising for me.
Any impact in the near or midterm with them withholding it at this time?
For SEPLAT, obviously, what you would assume is that markets will start to sell SEPLAT shares down aggressively, right? But obviously, what we've seen this morning is that we've not seen that much of push to sell, and that's possibly because of the fact that the people who are buying SEPLAT right now, they are mostly foreign institutions, right? You understand that we're in an environment where there's still a lot of dollar liquidity, so foreign investors are not able to get out of Nigeria. So what they are doing is that they buy SEPLAT, take a hit on foreign exchange, and then go to London, to exit via that corner. So what we are hearing in the market now is that there's still close to $500 million in equities that is trying to leave, Nigeria. So I think that SEPLAT, and probably an Airtel that is dual listed, that have no dual listing status, will probably, continue to benefit from this sort of arrangements.
Interesting, but all is not lost, right? This deal can still go through.
Yeah, possibly. I wouldn't imagine SEPLAT to go to the courts, but I think if they do go to the court, they have a solid case, for this sort of deal to go through. And it's also great, for the investing community, for Nigeria itself. Because if NNPC says that, they want to take over all of the assets, they are really sizable ones. I doubt if they have the financial backing or the strength, complete the transaction. I mean, we're talking about up to $1.3 billion of worth of assets. I don't see where that would come from. I mean, I checked NNPC's financials this morning, and one of the key things I saw was that they still have close to 2.3 trillion in receivables that they still have to settle, right?
In Naira, right?
In Naira,
okay.
yeah. So for them, I don't see where, for NNPC, the money is going to be coming from, where they are going to be using to purchase those sort of assets.
What about the technical? I mean, there's money is one. What the technical know-how, because they have the right of first refusal and so on. So what about that? That's also a question there as well?
I mean, you all know the arrangements that we all have in the oil and gas industry in Nigeria. Most of the time, NNPC would typically have financing, interest, not necessarily operating interest. Some of the interest that they have across different assets. It's all those private guys that is more or less, doing all of the operations, right? So I think that if they should allow, a SEPLAT to take it over. SEPLAT has shown that it's a solid company. They've done this for the last 10 years. I mean, they've grown, acquired different kind of assets. In 2019, they acquired inland assets, and today, SEPLAT is one of the strongest, independent oil and gas company out there in the world. So I think that Nigerians, are now ready to take over assets, from those foreign guys from IOCs.
Yeah.
And I suspect that for that reason alone, NNPC should just allow the deal to go.
Because it helps the ecosystem.
Yeah,
it's indigenous company.
It does.
Back to SEPLAT stock. Can we only, the rise? If you look at, I think it was 300 Naira in March when the pandemic, and now 1,200. Yeah. Can we only attribute it to foreign investors trying to get out? Well, what else can you attribute to the rise in the stock?
There's a lot that has changed as far as SEPLAT is concerned. Higher oil price would typically drive robust oil economics, for any oil producing company. And this is not just about SEPLAT. If you look around the world, Tulu, I think they've done up to 40% year to date.
Wow.
SEPLAT today is up by close to 40, 50% as well, right? So this sort of higher oil price is driving that robust oil economies, and it's sort of better, for their cash flows as far as cash flow generation is concerned, right? I think this is what is driving oil and gas company. But for SEPLAT, it has been really incredible. Investors are starting to price in that mobile acquisition, number one. Investors are also, SEPLAT is also benefiting from this, foreign investors arrangement. I think implied exchange rate for foreign investors, exiting via SEPLAT now is roughly around 850 Naira, to $1.
What?
I mean, it's better for you to do it versus just queuing at today, parallel market is up to 600 Naira to $1.
Right.
So, I mean, the gap is shrinking.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think those are some of the key, drivers, for SEPLAT's share price in the last couple of weeks.
That dual listing thing, there's insurance company in Zimbabwe, the same FX issues that was dual listed on the Zimbabwe exchange and in London as well. Any other attractive oil and gas stocks besides SEPLAT on the exchange?
I mean, I've always said this, SEPLAT is the only listed exposure in Nigeria today. If you buy SEPLAT, I mean, that's all there is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to mention other names.
Right, I get you.
You understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah. But, I mean, I think this is now the sort of environment where we need to start to attract, other guys to start to list as far as, upstream is concerned. I mean, I've always said it as well, that, look, NNPC itself might come out to list at some point. Maybe not necessarily the entire company. Maybe an NPDC, a solid company, an NGC, a solid
NLNG.
company. NLNG.
There you go.
I mean, they could come to the market to list. And that would sort of, diverse that exposure to the oil and gas, industries, rather than just focusing on SEPLAT alone. Because if SEPLAT is not doing well, then nobody is exposed to the oil and gas sector. Right, but we're really having fun in the oil and gas, especially the upstreams are part of oil and gas because of, the solid story that SEPLAT has been painting in the last couple of weeks.
Mustapha Wahab, oil and gas analyst with Chapel Hill Denham. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Welcome.